Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be finishing out 6.6, looking at the general form of the equation for a linear relation. What we're going to do here is we're going to determine the slope of a line from this equation. So the obvious way to do this would be to put it in slope-intercept form, and you'd be right. So we're going to rearrange this for y. We want this to be y equals. Okay? We could put it in slope point form. It's more difficult. So the easiest way would be put this in the slope-intercept form. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of anything that's not y. So we're obviously going to subtract 3x from both sides. And we're going to add 16 to both sides. Okay? That eliminates these two terms, gives you 0. Eliminates these two terms, gives you 0. That's why we did it. Next, we're going to clean this up. Alright. And when we clean this up, we're left with, obviously, negative 2y is equal to 0 subtract negative 3x plus 16. The next step is we're going to divide everything by negative 2. So when we divide everything by negative 2, we get that divided by negative 2 and divide by negative 2. So we divide all three terms by negative 2. The negative 2 divided by the negative 2 gives you 1, leaving it with y. That's why we did it. The negative divided by negative gives you positive. Right, and plus 16 divided by negative gives you negative 8. So let's clean this next line up. And we get y. That's why we did it, obviously. The negative divided by negative is a positive, so we'll clean this up. We'll get 3 half x, and then the plus 16 divided by negative 2 gives us negative 8. And your equation is now in slope-intercept form, so we can answer the question. The slope of this equation is, and we'll just say 3 halves. And you're finished. It's just easy as that. Okay, so just solving for the variable to obtain that. You check your understanding that goes along with that. Okay. We're going to look at the graphing calculator. Remember, it's important to remember that before using your graphing technology, everything has to be in y equals. So that example we just did is very important to do that. Now, Desmos is very interesting that we don't have to do that, which is great. However, it is good to get experience with rearranging the formula, because we will be using the graphing calculator. That is one of our main sources that as we move toward the advanced, or one of our main resources. So it is important because the calculator needs to be in y equals. All right, so we have to rearrange formulas is important. Okay. And let's look at example 4 to finish off the chapter. It says peanuts cost $2 per 100 grams, and raisins cost $1 per 100 grams. Devin has $10 to purchase both items. Generate some data for this relation. So I'm going to create a relationship here. This is just some data. All right. I took this. I'm going to take this from our information that we have. Okay. So I generate some data. So if Devin only buys peanuts, she buys 500 grams, right? Because it's $2 per 100 grams. If we multiply that by 5, that'll be $10 for 500 grams. That's one way we can do it. If it's only raisins that Devin purchases, then they'll be able to get 1,000 grams, right? Because $1 per 100 grams, multiply that by 10, that would be $10. And then in the middle, if you get a little bit of both, again, you only need 2 pieces of data to draw a linear line, but we pick another one. So if we did 200 grams of peanuts, that would be $4. And that'll give us $6 left for raisins, so that'll be 600 grams. So again, everyone could have a different answer here. The best two to do is find one where it's all one of each. That'll give you the x and y intercept, and then you can just draw the line, and then there's another one in here as well. All right. That would be obtained after you graph it anyway. All right. So now we're going to graph the data. So I've graphed the data. Again, the x right here, there's no independent dependent variable really. I went with mass of the peanuts as the x variable and raisins just because the peanuts came first. So again, one does depend on the other, but it could go either way. Okay, it's one of those pieces of information that could go either way. Unlike time, where time is always going to be in your x-axis. All right. So we can join the points because again we know that money has a decimal and we know that mass could also have a decimal, right? So we will connect the data, and you'll notice that we don't go into the negative peanuts or the negative raisins for obvious reasons. So it's just quadrant 1, all right? And like I said, we went with the raisins as the y variable is equal to the function as the x variable is p, okay? So let's look at question C, writing the equation for this relation. So this is one of the prime equations that you would give as having it in the general form, right? You can put it in the general form, or you can put it in another form if you like, right? It doesn't make a difference, right? But it says write the relation here in general form. So we do go to slope point form for this, or I can show you another way to do it. So I'm going to show you a quick way. The book does it a little differently, which I don't think is necessary. So obviously it's $2, right? So it'll be 2. Sorry, I'll go down now. So it'll be 2 times P, right? It's going to be the mass of the peanuts, right? And then we're going to add 1 times R for the cost per raisins, and that's going to equal $10, right? Or sorry, equal 1,000 grams because it's the mass. Okay, that's one equation. So we can use that to graph the information now because it wants it in that standard form. If we want to put it in general form, we just subtract 1,000, set the right hand side equal to 0, and there we are. Okay. This again can be obtained using the slope point formula. I don't think it's necessary, but you can do that if you wish. Sorry about that. Did you get on me? Okay. And then next, we want to, will Devin spend exactly $10 if she buys 300 grams of peanuts and 400 grams of raisins? Okay. So let's check this out. If this left-hand side equals the right-hand side, then it will work, right? So we write our equation. We fill in the mass, because remember P is equal to the mass of peanuts, and R is equal to the mass of raisins. Okay? Oh, raisins. So plug those values in. Oh, I should do that in the next line. It's no big deal. leave that as P, just so you can see where the data came from, where it went. Fill it in, and then we'll just see if both sides are equal. So it's 2 times 300 would be 600. 1 times 4 is 400. And 1,000, 600 plus 400 is 1,000. And 1,000 subtract 1,000 is obviously 0 equals 0. And that's it. Once both sides, and the answer would be, will Devin spend exactly? Yes, Devin will spend exactly $10. Okay? All right, remember, the point that you're filling in is 300 on the 400, right? Because it's all the points are PR, right? X, Y, PR. Do the same thing here. This time in the second one, pi. This point is going to be 400 and 300. So this is going to be 400. We're swapping them. Alright, so that's 400 and that's 300. Okay, and that would be 800 and 300, which would be 1100, which would be 100 equal to 0, which we know is obviously not true. Doesn't equal 0. So since the left-hand on our side doesn't equal the right side, it does not. So I'll write a statement for those two. And then I'll show that on the graph as well. So I left the statement here. This is for the DI part. When it was 0, 0, since the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side, the point 400 does satisfy because it's equal to 0. And since the left-hand side is not equal to the right-hand side, 100 is not equal to 0, the point 400, 300 does not satisfy the equation. All right. Showed the points plotted here, so obviously right 300, up 400, bang on your line, and right 400, up 300, obviously is not on the line. That's why it's not satisfied. So that is it for section 6.6. There's a check your understanding question that goes along with that. And there's some homework questions as well. Okay, so that is it for this video. In the next video, we'll be looking at 6.7, which is not in your textbook. These are supplemented, so the questions will be given in the document. Thanks for everybody for watching, and we'll talk again soon.